All right, ladies and gentlemen, and the lovely, colorful people in between, guess who's back? Back again. It's Dave. Dave, say hello.
Yeah, hello everybody.
Yeah,
That one mining guy here. How you doing?
Yeah, he's alive. He's not dead. Like Forge.
Like Forge. Yeah.
Forge is alive. I'm a Forge believer. I don't know if you know that.
Well, some people believe in a flying spaghetti monster. You believe in Forge. Yeah, who's to pick on anybody, right?
Yeah, I mean, some people think that the moon is like fake, Earth is flat, space
the moon's
is fake.
real. It's just made of cheese, man. It's starting to spoil. That's why it's rusting.
Ah, you saw that. Okay, let's get back to Apex. So, Dave, welcome back after 5. Has it been 5 months?
It's been close to 5 months. Yeah, I left back in March, April, somewhere around there, and we're in September. So yeah, 9 minus 5 is 4. That'd be April. Yeah, 5 months ish.
Yeah. So welcome back. And how's your family doing? I remember you had like situation with your wife, and she was sick. Is she good now?
Yeah, just to dispel that whole thing, man. Like, my wife had a test, a panel of tests. She was doing her basically like a yearly physical for her job, for her insurance at work. They make them take an annual physical, and the doctor had told her to fast the day before. But then he ran like a multiple sets of blood testing, and one of the blood tests that he gave her requires you not to fast for it to give you accurate results. So her fasting caused it to have some abnormal readings. And when she went and saw a specialist, like basically the specialist was like, "Yeah, you're 100% fine." So that whole thing was like gone and settled like within days of whenever I had posted about that. But it was really scary for those, you know, those 48, 72 hours until she had that appointment with a specialist. You know, so anytime there's a health concern that comes up like that, like it's a little scary. You know, so yeah, but no, that was all squared away. And yeah, and Olivia's great. She's getting huge. She's got a little personality on me. She's already told me that she doesn't like me a couple times just because I won't like cave in and buy her certain toys or whatever. You know, I thought
Has she called you a boomer?
No, not yet. And she's not on TikTok yet, so
Oh.
two things I can be thankful for, I guess. But no, she's a good kid, man. We call ourselves the chicken strip combo. Me and her, two-piece chicken strip combo. The dog is a side of fries, and my wife is the nugget that sometimes I accidentally throw in the bag with the chicken strip. So it's kind of a little family joke we have going on.
Good. I'm glad that everything's okay. There's no problems. I don't know. I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't remember you. I'm pretty sure some of my old viewers do. But just to like get everybody in the same page, tell everybody what you did when you were like when Apex first came out.
Oh, well, I was one of the first people to data mine Apex. So there was a time when Apex first came out that Respawn was even less communicative with their community than they are now, believe it or not. And a big part of that was led to people like constantly saying it's a dead game on arrival. You know, there's no content coming. This is just a cash grab by EA, etc. You know, stuff like that. There's a lot of negativity around the game. There was a guy named ShrugTool, who was actually what I would consider like the first real data miner for Apex. You know, but there was a small community inside the Apex lore channel, which was on the official Apex Discord, that was like devoted to looking at the game files, discussing them, and you know, sharing theories on what things could be. And I kind of got involved in that scene a little bit, and then I really was able to kind of excel in that because I have a background in software engineering and reading code and writing code and becoming one of the largest data miners for Apex. You know.
Yeah. So when you started posting on YouTube, did you expected it to blow up, or was that something you did for fun? Like, oh, hey, since there's no communication with the devs, here's what's coming up next in case you're losing hope in the game, right?
Yeah, really. I mean, it was Twitter first, and I didn't even really want to do a Twitter. I worked with a guy named FrozenFro, and some of you in the lore community probably know him. Yeah. I worked with him real closely at first, and basically I would give him everything I found, and he would make these like compiled posts and put them on Reddit. You know, and he convinced me to start a Twitter, so I started a Twitter, and then you know, from there it's almost history. I think I did Twitter for like 4 months, got to around 10,000 people on Twitter following me, and then I started a YouTube after that. You know, and yeah, it blew up. I mean, YouTube never really got the same, I don't know, the same type of steam that Twitter did. You know, I ended up getting up to like I think 35 or 40,000 followers on Twitter before I, you know, had the stuff happen back in March.
Who started doing YouTube first, you or ILOOTGAMES?
Me.
You? Okay, yeah. So I saw your videos, and then like ILOOTGAMES came in the mix, and then like I remember you two were the top data miners for, you know, future content that was coming on YouTube. And did you and like ILOOTGAMES like contact each other because
so Loot reached out to me. And I'm trying to make sure I keep the dates in mind and like try to, you know, it's hard for me to give like specific, because I mean everything happened. Like if you look at it in like the course of like 11 months, everything just kind of happened. But he reached out to me asking about, you know, saying that and this was before he was even called ILOOTGAMES. He had reached out to me, and he was like, you know, I'm interested in you know, learning how to data mine. Is that something you could, you know, would you be willing to teach me? And I'm the type of person, you know, I love teaching people how to do things, you know, like that's, I do that a lot at work, you know, and if I can bring somebody into like an IT or a technical related, you know, career, maybe even when it's all said and done, like to me that's more important than hitting, you know, whatever milestone you might hit on like a social media network. If you can turn one person on to getting into like STEM or broadening their horizons, it's a better feeling to me. So I taught him, you know, I'm not gonna say I taught him everything he knows, but I taught him, you know, everything he knew back then. You know, I taught him how to use Legion. I taught him how to use the VPK extractor, which are like the two publicly available tools that most people who do their data mining use, and that's just an easy way to get at the scripts and an easy way to get at, you know, the art assets in the game and look at those and, or, you know, listen to them and stuff like that. You know, so I taught him all that stuff, and then there was a whole lot of and the only time him and I ever had like any type of like I would say points of contention with one another were like our visions were different for what to do with the information that we were getting. You know, I was more of a anybody can use my stuff. I don't care. You know, I'm not a big credit hog. I don't care about cloud. None of that stuff matters to me. Like, you know, somebody wants to give me credit for using something I rendered, then that's fine. If they don't, then that's fine too.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that some people were like, I remember you made videos about stuff that was coming up, and then I remember like people start making videos about your stuff, but they weren't giving you like in a way credit, if I remember correctly. I asked those people like, hey, did you get this from That1miningGuy, or did you get it from somebody else like ILOOTGAMES? Like I didn't know, but for some reason these people didn't say, and that's when I think I even asked you. I think I even asked you yourself like, hey, are you okay with like people like, you know, using the work that you find without like actually giving you like full credit?
Yeah, and I hope at least I answered with pretty much, yeah, I don't really care. It's not that big of a deal to me, because it never really was. Like my community cared more about it than I did. You know, at the end of the day, like the people in my community were the ones who were way more active in like going and saying like, hey, if you're using his stuff, you need to give him credit. You know, I think there was more than once that I had to come out and say like, everybody just chill out with that crap, because it shouldn't be like that. At the end of the day, nobody owns that data. You know, nobody owns those models. Nobody owns those scripts other than Respawn. So we're really, you know, if we should be giving anybody credit for the stuff that we find, we should be giving it to Respawn, because they're the ones who are the crafters of the stuff that we're sharing, you know?
And I think it was one of those things where people are like, well, he spent like a whole lot of time, like, you know, time from his day, like to do this. So at least you should give him credit. I think that's where people were coming from, but you said that yourself, that you don't care. It's, you know, it's whatever.
Yeah, it was never about hitting follower numbers. I mean, it was nice. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and BS and be like, oh man, you know, I didn't care about hitting 10,000 followers or 20,000, you know, this, that, and the other, because I did, because it was like a good feeling. It's like, wow, you know, 20,000 people value what I'm saying enough to basically subscribe to what I'm saying and read my, you know, 1,200 tweets a month that I'm putting out, and you know, participate in those conversations and the community, you know, the Discord community and stuff like that. Like, I was proud of my achievements, but like at the same time, I was never chasing those achievements. You know, they just kind of came organically. It just came,
yeah. Those are the best feelings, where you just hit a milestone that you didn't even plan for. It just happened.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, your YouTube channel's blowing up, right? I mean, I think last time you and I talked, it was at 5,000, and now you said you're approaching what, 50, somewhere around there.
I already got hit 50. Yeah, I didn't plan for it. I did not plan for it.
Exactly.
It just hit. Yeah,
you're 2.5 times bigger than I ever was. I think I only hit 25,000. You know, 20,000 or 25,000, and on YouTube it was like the top of where I ever got as far as subscribers on YouTube went. You know, so you're bigger than I ever was.
Yeah, I did see some people like didn't like you, like because, you know, you were leaking stuff that, you know, wasn't out. To me, it's kind of silly for the people that say, oh yeah, all leakers are bad, you know. Like sometimes it's like, I don't know about how you feel about that.
Well, I mean, I agree with, okay, so I think there's a line between leaking and spoiling. And to clarify, I mean, there's a difference between posting a segment of code and saying, you know, hey, this is what I think this could be, you know, based on my programming experience and the files that I've reviewed, you know, in the past compared to what this says now, that, you know, this could be something that comes in the future, to posting something. And I'm not trying to call anybody out. I'm not, you know, different people do different things, and, you know, you kind of have to, like, for instance, there's some people who post like the entire comic quest, the comic spoilers, like at the second that they're in the patch, and it basically spoils that entire quest line, for instance. And, you know, I'm friends with some of the people who do that, and I may not like that they do that, but at the same time, it's not my place to tell them how to run their content, you know, and I would never.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, it feels like, you know, like you're being like a pushy person, like, hey, you can't do that because I don't like it, you know, like, you know, we all have our right to do whatever. Exactly. Even some people may not like it, which leads me to what happened with Respawn. So from my understanding is that you got buddy with the devs.
Oh yeah.
Can you please explain that? Yeah, can you please explain what happened?
Sure. Yeah, that's no problem at all. And this might be a little bit of a lengthy explanation, so I don't want to overtalk you. So if you need to break in, feel free to do so. I initially, after about, I think my 1,000th follower was one of the Respawn devs. And, you know, we had talked a couple times, like, this was like way early on, and we weren't really like close buddy, but, you know, we would, you know, I would bounce stuff off him occasionally and say, you know, well, I found this, you know, and I think it means that. Excuse me, I think it means this or that, you know, just to kind of make sure that I never wanted to step on anybody's toes, so to speak. You know, I never wanted to feel like I was hurting Respawn. I never, you know, I had a lot of respect for Respawn. I've been playing their games for years. You know, they were an inspiration and, you know, almost like a role model to me when I was going through college. Back then I did want to be in game development, you know, and I really looked up to a lot of the people that worked there. Ended up like getting like pretty close with a few of the devs there. I don't want to say anybody's name specifically. And, you know, in private and DMs between us, like, it was always like, you know, hey, if we really like what you're doing, we love the theory and the speculation stuff, and, you know, keep going. You're not, you know, we appreciate it, and this, that, and the other. And that was a good feeling. You know, that felt really good. It was like, whoa, you know, like somebody at the actual people who work on the game are telling me that, like, you know, they don't have a problem with me posting this, that they liked what I was doing, that it wasn't a problem, you know. And these weren't like community managers. These were people who, you know, the devs that worked on the, you know, senior engineers, people like that worked on the game, you know, would basically, you know, say, hey, things are great. And then we get to a point where there were rumblings from someone there about, you know, all people who leak content are bad people.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and it wasn't even about Apex, so to speak. She was talking about the Overwatch 2 leaks that came out right before BlizzCon last year. But people took that as an opportunity to beat me up. You know, people.
Oh yeah, they use you as a punching bag. Basically.
Yeah, use me as a punching bag. You know, and, you know, and then that happened again. Essentially, whenever there was a screenshot of the trailer for Revenant that came out of him, you know, crossing Forge off the list basically for Season 4.
Yeah. And
I retweeted a still that someone had sent me, and, you know, at that point, Drew McCoy, whose claim to fame was probably the whole Reddit drama that happened when he called a bunch of people like freeloaders or something like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
oh yeah, by the way, but when that came out, I can't believe, like, I still don't understand if it was EA that told him to do it or it was Respawn. I like to believe it was EA because, you know, EA in their history of being like very greedy and like trying to, like, in a way make some. You think Drew did it?
No, I think Drew just made a really bad joke, and people don't know Drew's sense of humor. Like, to him, it'd be like your best friend, like, calling you up and calling you stupid or something. Like, you know, like, they're not mean. They don't mean you're stupid. They just mean, like, they're just picking on you.
Oh,
that's kind of how Drew's whole personality was. You know, I did have, you know, a little bit of like an email pen pal type thing with him. Like, we would write back and forth occasionally. You know, and he was always like really straight to the point, but like. He was just that type of guy who liked to pick around and joke around, and people would just, and when you're in that position, you're not going to understand. Like you have to be specific with the things you say when you're in a position like that, because people will take their own perception on it, and if it hurts their feelings, they're going to lash out, and that's basically what happened.
Okay, thank you for saying that, because from like somebody who doesn't know like him personally, like you do, it felt like he was literally calling us freeloaders. Like we were concerned that, hey, this is basically gambling, and you know, it sends a bad sample of where the game's going, and we were like concerned about that. So when he said, oh, freeloaders, everybody's like, what are you doing?
It'd be like you calling out people who watch your YouTube videos with ad block on. Like, you know, it's like, it's not, you still appreciate their support, that they're watching your videos, but, you know, be like, hey, if you guys weren't a bunch of freeloaders, it'd be nice if you turn off ad block while you're watching my damn videos, you know?
Yeah, so thank you for clarifying that. Like, I know there's still a lot of people that made videos about that, like, and they really thought he actually called us like actual freeloaders, but that makes a whole lot more sense now. So thank you for clarifying. So
no, Drew's an awesome was an awesome person. Like, you know, it really, like, I got sad whenever he retired. Like that, I was pretty upset about that, because again, like, some of these guys I've been following since I was, you know, in my 20s, like early 20s, and, you know, looked up to him, and he was one of them. Looked up to him as like an inspiration or a role model for, you know, the way that you, I mean, I'm a nerd at the end of the day, man. Like, I'm in software engineering. I play video games. You know, I'm in my mid 30s. You know, I spend more on my computer than I do on my car. You know, so like, obviously at the end of the day, like, I'm a big gamer nerd, and, you know, when you're a gamer nerd, like, you know, when Vince left, when Vince and Slothy and those guys left Infinity Ward back in the day to go make Respawn, right? So there's a whole story there after they made Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4, or Modern Warfare Call of Duty 4 on the Xbox 360 back in the day, and Activision didn't give them a fair cut of the money from the game, so they left. So they were the original Infinity Ward team. They left and they started their own company, and to me, that's like a rock star move. You know, like that's like Gene Simmons like biting off the, or Ozzy Osbourne biting off the head of a bat at a concert. You know, as nerdy as it sounds, that's kind of how that was for me, you know, to see that. And,
yeah, you kind of showed your age right there, because a lot of people are gonna be like, who? What?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's just, I've had a lot of respect for those people, because I mean, that's a real, you know, that's a scary thing to do as an individual, is, you know, leave a company that you're getting a living from, and just say, you know what, F it, I'm gonna go make my own company. And then they brought out Titanfall a few years later. So.
And they also improve upon the game, because a lot of people had complaints with Titanfall 1, but they knocked it out of the park, in my opinion, with Titanfall 2.
Titanfall 2 has one of the best campaigns of like all time, like in a shooter.
Unfortunately, it's, you know, I feel like back then it underperformed because of all the things that was going on when they kind of, I don't know if they decided to release it with
EA pushed the release on that. EA pushed that release. Yeah, EA pushed the release of it to come out like I think it was at the same time as either a Call of Duty game or a Battlefield game, and you give people a choice between Battlefield, Call of Duty, or Titanfall 2, and all they know about it is Titanfall 1. Like, which one would you pick back then? I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, back then I remember that I think it was Infinite Warfare. It was getting a lot of hate because people were like, oh, it's a space game. We're tired of like jumping around and stuff. And that kind of hurt, in my opinion, that hurt Titan, because people thought it was the same thing, but it wasn't. It was completely different. You know, but people who didn't know about Titanfall 1, and they're like, oh, it's the same thing as Infinite Warfare. It's jumping around. I remember that because I saw the trailers on TV, and I'm like, oh, so it's like basically Infinite Warfare. To me, it was just like a copy of it. Like, you know, they're trying to copy Infinite Warfare, but it wasn't. And in EA's mind, thought, hey, we're getting all this press because Battlefield, I think it was Battlefield 1, it was like a boots on the ground, you know, a style game. And if for some reason they just figured that, okay, if they want boots in the ground, they'll buy our game. And if they want to fly around and stuff, instead of Infinite Warfare, they'll buy Titanfall 2. But the problem that I saw is that they kind of did bad marketing for Titanfall 2 where it underperformed. I don't know if you know any more information about that.
No, I think that's 100% correct. Like, it was misrepresented. You know, and it had a launch date that should have been, you know, in my opinion, either a month earlier or a month later. Like, I think you have to have a buffer there for first-person shooters, because I don't know, it'd be like if Madden and FIFA came out at the same time. You know, like, it's just one of them would not perform as well as the other because you have people who play both. You know, so it's kind of one of those things where if you have that space in that genre, that you have to respect the competition in a way, and give the competition a chance to shoot themselves in the foot before you try to shoot them, you know, first. That's just kind of how I look at it. But you know, to get back to the whole thing that happened was, you know, after the respawn or after the Revenant retweet thing, you know, there was some more rumblings. You know, Drew was one of the people who had spoken out and said, you know, like, I can't stand whenever stuff like that gets leaked, because it basically, like, it craps on an art team's, you know, months and months of work to prepare the cinematic, to do the writing, like, you know, and I 100% agree with him, and I felt bad. You know, I felt bad for the part that I played in that. Like, I apologized publicly to the community. You know, one day I spent like 4.5 hours writing customized personalized emails to every person who works on Apex that I could find an email address for, apologizing for the part that I played in that, even though I wasn't the person who initially posted it. You know, I retweeted. I signal boosted the crap out of it, you know.
Yeah. So from my understanding, it wasn't you. It was you want me to say ILOOTGAMES, or want me to cut that out of it?
No, it was, you know, yeah, ILOOTGAMES was the one who initially posted it, and, you know, I retweeted it. I mean, at that time...
Yeah, but ILOOTGAMES didn't, like, he didn't get that image, like, he didn't, like, do some kind of data mining. Like, somebody gave it to him, and then he posted it, and then you retweeted, right?
Yep, that's exactly how it happened. You know,
but for the devs, they thought that you guys went out of your way to, like, in their perspective, right? They thought it was you guys that somehow did something, and you went out of your way to, like, spoil it. But in reality, it was just somebody, you know, ILOOTGAMES just made a mistake of posting it, and then you just retweeted. Yeah. Is that a fair assumption?
That's a fair shake at it, I think. You know, I don't really know if they thought that we went out of our way to find a way to get it. I mean, because it was obviously a YouTube still. You know, like whenever you upload a video and you don't pick a thumbnail for it, it automatically just picks what it thinks is the most interesting frame and makes it the thumbnail.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, that's what I think happened, and I think somebody just happened to be, like, on Respawn's YouTube page whenever it happened, and, you know, they caught it before, and whoever uploaded it didn't mark it as private fast enough, and that person just happened to catch it, like, right as it was loaded. That's the only thing I can think.
Okay, so to me, that tells me is that they kind of felt betrayed that, you know, you retweeted that, and it was like a huge spoiler because, you know, all their months of planning. So I'm guessing that's what it was then, and not that, you know, you guys purposely went out of your way to try to spoil it.
Yeah, no, it was, you know, for me, it was more of shutting some people up who were, like, basically, like, so proud, so happy that I was wrong about who the champion was going to be for Season 4, that they felt like, you know, anybody can sit on their butt and do nothing and point out everyone else's follies. Like, that's not a hard thing to do. Like, go in and spending 40 or 50 hours a week actually data mining the content and trying to figure out stuff, and, you know, post good information and be as accurate as I am. You're gonna get some things wrong just because you don't see the full picture, but at the same time, like, I think I had a pretty high accuracy rate when it came to, like, the things I said were, you know, I felt were came. And I was pissed. I mean, I was just so tired of dealing with, like, these hateful comments from people. And you know, as a content creator, man, like, you try not to let it get to you. You really try. And you'll have 1,000 comments on a video of people saying, good job, love the video. And then you'll see that one comment from that one guy who's, like, probably just a damn troll, you know, sitting in his underwear in his mom's basement, like, who says, like, your microphone's off in this video. Or, you know, like, they say something that just, like, and that's the only thing you can think about the entire time you're working on the next video. Is like, man, I better make sure my mic's right, because that one guy who said something about it, you know, last video, it hits you hard as a content creator, because I think, you know, you put your heart and your soul into something, and you do your best at it. Like, you want everybody to enjoy it, but, you know, sometimes somebody sometimes people just need a reason just to poop on somebody's parade, so to speak, you know, without
so what I found is that some of them are just jealous of your success, and they just want to, like, you know, take you down. And yeah, you're right. Like, I have seen some comments on mine that, oh, I didn't like this theory of yours. Oh, hey, your gameplay sucks, or something like that. Yeah. But I don't know why, like, you know, I think it's human nature. Like, we see 1,000 comments that say, good job, I like this video, you're improving, or something like that. And then this one negative comment always, like, you know, brings you down. That's why now what I'd like to do is I'll wait, like, for an hour for, like, the comments to come in, unless, like, I just post a video right away. Because I know when I post a video right away, those are, like, my true fans. Like, the people that always wait for, like, a video to come out, and they're always gonna say something positive. But after an hour, what I do is, like, after people seen the video, video. I go through like the first like 20 comments and I see what people are saying or what they like, and I try to not go too deep down in the comments, because then you eventually find that one comment that, like, you know, tries to like say, oh, this sucks or something like that. Unless it's like real criticism, then I'll be like, oh yeah, I accept that, okay, sure, I'll try and improve upon it. But
oh yeah, I mean, I had like 99. I think last time I checked on YouTube, my average like to dislike ratio was something insane, like 99.8% to 0.2 or something like that. You know, it was crazy. But there was like this one guy who would literally go through every time I upload a video, and as soon as it would post, he would go in and dislike it. And I know it has to be this one guy, because like it was every video, no matter what the topic could have been, like, you know, my puppy dog died today, and he would go in and dislike, like immediately dislike it. And I'm just like, all right, I didn't even count that in my head. I was just like, that's just a person who's salty. Either I pissed them off, or, you know, whatever, I've done something to upset that person, or they're just not happy in their life, so whatever. That was a wash. It didn't even bother me. But yeah, it's exactly like that, you know. But these people felt like vindicated in a way that, like, they could be like, ha ha, nana nana boo boo, you got something wrong, you know. And it was getting to me, you know. It was really getting to me. So as soon as and this was also like right after I had done the whole thing where, like, I had changed a URL on one of EA's websites, on one of their forums. I literally like changed like a 4 into a 5, and it showed me the season 4 picture of Revenant standing in front of World's Edge, you know, like with the black and white background. That's still like the background on my tablet. That picture. Yeah, my tablet still has that on there. And
every time you see it, you're like, you cost me everything.
No, I don't feel that way at all. No, man. And you know, one of the people who responded to those emails that I sent out was Drew, and he was basically like, you know, well, whenever I said that, like, people who leak stuff like that, he's like, I wasn't talking about you, man. He's like, it's not you. He's like, you know, yeah, you retweeted that. He's like, but for the most part, you know, basically the gist of the email was like, for the most part, like, you've only done stuff that's like helped the game out, you know, and we really do appreciate that, you know. So it felt really, really good to have that from Drew. And then a week later, he announces he's going to retire. You know,
did he retire? Because I saw his Twitter that he put out the games he worked on, and the last thing he put question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark.
He announced he was leaving Respawn. Let me be a little more clear on that.
Okay, makes sense.
And that, like, a week later was going to be his last day or something like that. And around this time, I had a you know, a public argument with Frozen Fro, the guy who I'd worked with in the first place, and there was some drama there that, you know, don't really need to revisit all that crap. But
yeah, it's not necessary.
Yeah, it's not necessary. You know, I have nothing but respect for him, and, you know, our personal thoughts of one another aside, you know, I hope that he can at least respect what I've done and do. And if he can't, then oh well. You know, you can't make everybody happy, but at the end of the day, you know, there's nothing but respect, at least on this side of the fence. And, you know, personal feelings aside, like, from a professional stance, you know, I'm proud of him, and I'm proud of where he's gone within Apex's community. I think he's a really good community member. But that being said, like, it was just a lot of stuff that happened that had a lot of negativity around it, and I wasn't used to that, because usually things were really, really positive for me. You know, like, we had the explosive growth, you know, I had a lot of really good conversations. And then, like, we had this, like, series of things that kind of happened where it was like the Revenant thing, and then the Frozen Fro thing, and then Drew was retired, or was leaving Respawn. And I decided to have a little joke with Drew on the last day. So what I did was, there's an old Smart Pistol skin that's been in the files forever. I think I even covered it like a long time ago, you know, and saying that, like, hey, this is a Titanfall skin, but it's still in the Apex files, which is normal, or was normal back then. They've actually cleaned it up a lot since then, from what I've seen. One of those esports sites, or what they call themselves, esports sites, you know, basically took that joke and tried to make it into like a true speculation post, and tried to make it seem like I was saying that there was a chance that the Smart Pistol could come to Apex. And Josh Medina, who's also a friend of mine over at Respawn, and he's usually the one who would, like, respond to, like, any, like, of my tweets and, like, make jokes about, like, yeah, that's not coming, or yeah, that is coming. You know, he would do little, like, teasers and stuff like that on my posts a lot. But he had added, he had responded to the joke thread, and I think that Jason McCoy had saw it, and he basically, like, tried to say, like, thanks to That1miningGuy for spreading lies and misinformation, and, like, you know, that was, like, basically, like, the straw that broke the camel's back. I did not have a relationship with Jason McCoy ever at any point, you know. So, like, having this guy who's now the new game director, who's taken over Drew's job, basically, kind kind of have that attitude with me was just enough to like basically tell me, you know what, screw it, I'm not having fun anymore. This has been a real bad couple of months. You know, I always told myself, you know, if I don't have fun, I'm not gonna do this anymore. It's not, I didn't make money off of it. It wasn't ever about money. It was about fun. It was about enjoying the community, and I wasn't enjoying it anymore, so I left. You know, I just shut down, I deactivated the Twitter. I had to delete the YouTube because of the contract I was under. I had to go in and manually delete all the videos to turn it off. I couldn't just disable it. I left. You know, I left that, and I took 5 months just to kind of get away from it.
And now you're here, coming back to tell your story.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I mean, I don't ask for any sympathy. I don't ask for any. I don't need it, you know, but like I did a little Google search, and like out of like all the videos that were posted about it, all the people who speculated about why I left and everything, you were like the only one who actually gave it like a fair evaluation. You know, you didn't say his wife's sick, you know, that's why he left. You didn't say, you know, you looked at it from like everything that had happened, and you were the closest one. I think I messaged you on Twitter or something like that, and I said, you know, hey, I want to say thank you for that video that you made, because it was the one that like made the most sense and was like as close to the truth as could be possible. You know?
Yeah, with the information that I had, or what I seen, because they did give you a shout out. I remember that they called you out like, hey, Wine Mining Guy, calm down, this is like stuff in the past. So I'm like, oh, he was cool with the devs. And you know, to me, I saw it as a misunderstanding, like, you know, that just went downhill and one bad thing after another. And yeah, and that's how, like, you just saw on Twitter, you said, oh, I'm gone, and nobody really understood what happened. So I kind of gave an explanation video like, oh, why that one mining guy could have left from what I've seen from all my research. And then you hit me up in like, I think it was Tobias. I think it was Tobias, the first one, who, like, one of the data miners that commented, like, saying, yeah, you're kind of accurate, and I don't want to say anything more about it. And then you actually contacted me, I think some weeks later on. Yeah, I mean, I had a Google alert that came up with my name occasionally, and I'd been ignoring it up to that point. And I think that your video had popped up in a Google alert on my cell phone, and I went and watched it, and I was like, you know, this guy's pretty accurate. And then I saw that, and you know, Tobias had talked to you, and you know, Tobias is one of the people who he supported me from, like, I think he was like my 40th or 50th follower on Twitter, you know, like way early on. Dang.
You know, one of my admins, like one of the people that I would call, like, you know, a trusted advisor type person. Like, I was close, you know, I still am. I'm close with all those guys still. You know, still talk to them on Discord pretty often. But yeah, and I you know, I reached out to you, and that's kind of when we decided that we were going to have a follow-up interview on it. And then I just had a lot happen over the last 5 months. You know, outside of an online presence, like, you know, in real IRL or in real life, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I had a feeling that happened. I'm like, okay, let him take his time. You know, I have a feeling one day he'll come back. And yeah, so Tobias, like, I started talking to Tobias, and he actually helped me out a lot. He's a pretty cool dude. Like, he did stuff that I didn't even expect him, like, to help me. Like, hey, can I get like this transparent render of Loba? He's like, yeah, sure, here. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
cool
I'm
guy.
real proud, real proud of those guys. Like, you know, I call him Jack. I think he has a Twitter account, Kyosi or whatever. But I call him, you know, I call him Jack because he's Jack to me. But you know, I go in and I see them, like, still kind of upholding a lot of the same traditions that I tried to kind of set an example for. You know, such as sharing assets with people, and, you know, not hoarding the data, not you know, but still being protective of things that they feel like, you know, might be too spoilery in occasion, and you know, and they do sometimes, they do leak things that I wouldn't necessarily post. But again, you know, like I said earlier on, like, that's their realm of whatever they want to do with what their responsibility is. You know, and whatever comes from that is on them, you know. But that doesn't break the fact that they're still my friends, you know. Like, that's a relationship that we've built over time, and there's a lot of trust there. And, you know, I'll never say that they're wrong for what they're doing. You know, I'll just say that, well, that's not how I would do it. And I think that's about as fair as you can be with this type of, you know, content.
By the way, did you talk to ILOOTGAMES? Because I noticed that after the, you know, controversy, he said that he was not going to spoil anything like major and do stuff, but I kind of saw him like stop doing data mining videos and start doing like, well, he still does some videos where he talks about upcoming skins, but he's kind of does Twitter now. So he told you he was gonna like, you know, step down from, or at least stop doing a lot of YouTube videos and focus on Twitter. I mean, not Twitter, Twitch.
You know, the thing with Loot is that he approached me, and you know, he asked me just a couple days ago about reopening we were gonna start a podcast together.
Oh yeah, the data
den. Yeah. We did one episode, and then all this went down, and you know, I basically disappeared. You know, I feel bad for disappearing on him like that. Like, you should never, you know, whenever you make a commitment to somebody to do something with them, like that's a bad thing to do. Like, you don't just disappear. But he understood. You know, we're both older guys. You know, we both have families. You know, and he understood, kind of. You know, he understood where I was coming from. He never understood how I let the stuff get to me like I did. You know, but he understood. He understood why I was leaving. But you know, and I don't want to go too into it. You know, just because it's his story to tell, not mine. But yeah, as far as I understand, he's a little more focused on just providing content from the game now than he is the whole data mining and posting leaks and things like that. Like, he's I think he's kind of feeling like he wants to grow in a different direction, you know, and that's good on him. I mean, I'm proud of him. Like, I'm proud of his success. Like, he's Twitter's as big as mine was whenever I left, and you know, that's awesome for him. And you know, it looks like I think last time I went into one of his Twitch streams, he had something like 1,000 people watching him play. So I mean, I'm so happy for him that he's found that success without having to compromise his, you know, without him having to feel like he was compromising his values, or you know, doing it from a data mining perspective. You know, yeah, that's good on him.
Yeah, it is something interesting that happened from that is that when you kind of left and ILOOTGAMES kind of stopped doing, you know, data mining stuff, some other YouTubes like actually like filled your spot. It was actually not some like smaller YouTubers, like they talked to the data miners, right? And then the data miners would tell them, hey, what they found and stuff like that. And then what they'll do, they'll report it on their YouTube channel and also give them credit, the data miners. And they started like popping up like, oh, hey, this is what Tobias told me, this is what Shrug told me, this is what these data miners told me. And like, so that even though you guys left, right, somebody took over your spot and still, like, you know, continue on doing that. And if I remember, I think Struggle is now he has his own YouTube now.
Yeah, so does Tobias. Yeah, Tobias and Struggle both have their own YouTubes now. You know, I'm proud of those guys. Like, I'm so happy. You know, Struggle was my inspiration to get into it in the first place. You know, like, I modeled the way that I did things based off of how Structural did things early on, you know, which was, you know, you don't post spoilers, you post, you know, you post things you can speculate on, you know, you post your theory on what they can mean, and that's how you do things. And really, he was the inspiration for me to get into it at all in the first place, because he's also in software engineering, he's also a developer. You know, he understands the code when he's reading it. Like, the only difference was that he didn't have time to sit and post 1,200 tweets a month, and I did at the time, you know. So I grew, you know, I outgrew him quickly back in the day, but I've always respected him as an equal when it comes to being able to evaluate code and being able to you know, post good solid speculation on stuff and you know, participate in conversations with people.
Have you been playing Apex recently, or
nope.
Have you like been So after season 4 you kind of just stopped with Apex in general? So
yep.
You have no idea what's going on with the lore. You have no idea what's going on.
Because I've read it in the scripts in the game files. I've read over all the transcriptions from the dialogue that was in season 5 for the treasure hunting quest, you know, rebuilding Ash's Head. Like you know, I've read over all the comic stuff. Like, I know the things that are going on. You know, but I refuse to play the game right now. There's a bad taste in my mouth still for Respawn, for the devs.
Okay.
You know, I'm not going to ask Jason McCoy to apologize to me, because I feel like that's like a pipe dream of pipe dreams to even expect him to take the time out of his day to say, you know what, I was just being a smartass, I wasn't being serious. Like, that's not his responsibility, and he doesn't need to do that. But at the same time, like, I'm not going to support a game, you know, I'm not going to support that game like I did before, because I mean, I spent hundreds, you know, if not over $1,000 on multiple accounts, you know, on Apex, like on a PlayStation,
Xbox
account, I love the game. you know, I really did. Like, I through and true was a Respawn fanboy. Like, you know, but having your idol spit in your face, like, they're not going to really be your idol anymore for too much longer after that. So, you know, yeah, I still have not booted the game up past the point of just booting it up so that I can do like memory dumps so I can go in and read stuff. Like that's about as far as I've gotten with it. I've not logged into, I think I was in the firing range one time. You know, it was a little weird that they didn't that, but they did do a lot with the lore in Season 5, which I appreciate and respect, you know, because the game needed it.
Yeah, it needed desperately, like, lore info.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, like, I mean, other than like going to the EA play site and like reading the character bios, you didn't know jack crap about anybody other than like their sexual orientation, you know, the color of their skin, and you know, some of their voice lines. Bangalore's like diatribes.
Speaking of voice lines, I don't know if you saw what happened to me with me and Tom.
No. What happened?
So I was worried that okay, so it's kind of a long story. Want me to give you the short story or the long story?
I mean, just tell it how it is, man. Tell me what happened. It's cool.
Okay, so you know how you might be blacklisted in Respawn headquarters, right? You?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, they never invited me to do jack shit, and they never respected me as a content creator. But other than that, like, I don't think I've ever done anything like killed anybody's dog or kidden or anything. Like, I don't know if I'm blacklisted, but I mean, they offered me a job twice, so it'd be weird for me to be blacklisted. But I guess maybe, possibility, sure.
Yeah, well, I think I'm now blacklisted too because I kind of went after Tom and called him out on censorship. So basically what happened is that somebody on Twitter complained that Caustic said something...
Gutter rat thing.
Yeah.
Crypto, right?
Yeah, gutter rat. And... you know, under context, under the lore, he said it because he wants everybody in the legends to, like, mistrust crypto. Hey, don't trust this guy. This guy is, like, you know, a gutter rat. He's not somebody you should trust. He's working with Revenant, even though he's innocent. He just got framed again for something he didn't do. But I had a feeling like there was like a double meaning when he called him a gutter rat. To me, he was calling him street trash because there's been the speculation that Caustic and Crypto are actually stepbrothers, and their mom is Mystic. That was the thing, because Mystic owns, like, well, Caustic's mom owns an orphanage. In Mystic, we originally thought that she was like an employee, but people have been saying in the Apex lore Reddit that, hey, what if Mystic is like actually Caustic's mom, and that because Mystic gets confirmed that she's she's the caregiver for Crypto and Mila.
And her sister, right? Mila.
Yeah.
Well, so sister, quote unquote sister, like half whatever, orphan sister.
Yeah, orphan sister.
Foster sister, whatever you want to call her. But yeah, I'm up with that. Okay.
Yeah, so the theory goes, well, I made the theory that, hey, what if the reason Caustic hates Crypto is because Crypto in the past, like his mom liked Crypto more than she liked Caustic, because Caustic, you know how he is. He's kind of, you know, a psychopath.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so maybe like you know, he started to feel distant from his mom, and like, you know, one day he did the thing in Humber Labs where, you know, he killed those people, and that's where his mom disowned him. Like, she wanted nothing to do with Caustic anymore, and Caustic went on to work with the Syndicate and Hammond Robotics, because I figured that maybe like in Humber Labs, because it's a pesticide company, but I have a feeling there was much more. I feel like they were doing something secretive, and Caustic killed all the scientists where they were kind of forced to work with him now, because he's the only one that knows what they were doing, right? And he's the only one that was involved in this secret thing that I think they were doing. Allegedly.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that was also funny because I remember Loba like joked about it, like, oh, doctor, you're innocent, and you're like, and everybody was saying, oh, Loba's being sarcastic when she called that Caustic was innocent, but Caustic started to panic because he couldn't believe that Loba knew that who he could be. Yeah, and what makes this... Yeah, Alexander Knox. So he started to panic, but at the same time, Caustic remembered that his mom used to call him a smarty pants, and that the syndicate in one of the loading screens were like, hey, this guy is too clean to have joined the games. Like, there's literally no record on him, and you know, and it also doesn't help that he's a Korean hacker that's in his 30s, and Taechung Park is a Korean hacker that's also in his 30s. So I think Caustic put the 2 and 2 together with the smarty pants, and he's like, oh my my god, this guy is my stepbrother, Taejun Park. And what's worse is that he was getting friendly with Watson. And I think he started to panic because he works with the Caustic kind of, in a way, it's not confirmed, but I have a feeling he works with the syndicate at Hammond Robotics. And I think he was afraid that
Caustic was basically like a father figure to Watson after her dad died. Like,
yeah.
There's a loading screen where it talks about him being at her dad's funeral and then them having a conversation afterwards or something like that. And she calls him my Papa Caustic or something like that.
I remember there's this one line where she says that, see, Dr. Caustic, you're not as bad as everybody says you know you are. Like, she's trying to make Caustic, like, you know, more opened up. And I think Caustic started to panic when he figured out that this could be my stepbrother, Taejun Park. And because Taejun Park, he said it himself in the quest, oh, you want revenge against the mercenary syndicate, Crypto, because he tried to frame Crypto, which made no sense to me because Crypto was really one of the smartest legends in the game. So why would you try to frame Crypto out of all people? If you could have like framed somebody like Octane, then it would be Crypto. So he personally went after Crypto for a reason, and that's what I'm trying to say is that, oh
yeah, it's personal. It's a personal reason.
Yeah, so
makes sense.
Yeah, so then I figured, okay, Caustic doesn't want Crypto to get, like, you know, friendly with Watson, because then one day Crypto might go out of his way and say, look, Watson, I know we're friends and all, but this is who I am. I'm Taejun Park, and I'm trying to take down the mercenary syndicate. And in a way, he's probably going to ask for her help, and then Caustic's gonna be put in this situation where he has to take down his stepbrother and Watson. And I don't think he's I don't think he's going to want to do that. So he just wants to, like, right now, as of what I've seen, he wants Crypto and Watson to split. Like, he doesn't want Watson to have anything to do with Crypto. Like, he's calling him street trash. Like, he was like an orphan, you know?
But somebody brought up that it was a culturally insensitive word.
Culturally insensitive. Exactly, culturally insensitive word. And Tom said that, this is the thing that drives me nuts. He said that, look, I talked to the devs, and Ashley in one of the podcasts said that, hey, yeah, we have Korean devs. And I'm pretty sure they also talked to Johnny, who, you know, the voice actor for Crypto, and nobody found it offensive. And for some reason, Tom went out of his way to take it out because this person on Twitter said this was offensive, which I called him out on it. I said, hey, look, if we're gonna be like that, does this mean now that anything that anybody finds offensive, you're gonna take it out of the game? And I made a video about it where I call his hypocrisy. So to me, for him to take out that line, and I understand that some people might find it offensive, but to me, now you open up the door for changing the tonfa to a dagger because of, you know, you feel like people might get offended by it. Like, yes, exactly. Hopefully where do you draw the line? You know, where do you draw the line? Yeah, exactly. And I can see that. Yeah, and that's what I was concerned about. And I'm like, oh, hopefully they change it to like nunchucks. From what I heard, like, it was in the game, right? Like, they had the model ready and all that. And now I think they're not going to ever bring it up. And they're going to change it to something else. I've never that's the thing that sucks about being gone for as long as I have, is like I never got the opportunity to back up an archive that would have had the model in the game. But I know the model's not there now. I know there's no model for it at all. Like, there's no Bangalore heirloom model in the game. You know, and when I asked a couple of the guys on Discord about it, they were like, yeah, nobody's seen a model of it. It's just because some insider had said something to somebody else about it, and, you know, that's what we expected it to be. And to me, like, a tonfa, like, if you're gonna take out a tonfa because of police brutality, then why are you gonna leave in guns, like, at all? Like, because, you know, tonfas aren't killing people. You know, it's not 1993. It's not Rodney King. It's, you know, right now the big thing is the use of force in the way of, like, shooting somebody with a gun, you know, and mag dumping on somebody, like. Yeah. But I can play Officer Williams and take a 9mm pistol and shoot down, you know, everybody with it, and that's okay. But I can't hit them with a nightstick. Come on, give me a break, man. Like, that's my personal opinion on it. Is that, like, if you censor something like that, you are making it so Care Bear that, like, it takes any edge off the game at all, and you're a freaking shooter at the end of the day. You know, your goal is to kill as many other people as you can. Like, let's be realistic about it. Like, if you're gonna take out something like that because of that reason, then you should really evaluate being in this type of game at all. Like, in this space of shooter, you shouldn't be making a shooter, you know.
go make an RPG. You know, go make a sword and slash, something like that. Like, just drop the damn game. Like, what's the point at that? Where do you draw the line? Again, where do you draw the line? Like,
yeah, and that's what I was telling Tom. Like, I didn't want to say it, but that's what I was telling Tom. Like, hey, does this mean everything now that somebody might find offensive? Are you gonna take out? And he kind of deflected. Like, he tweeted my tweet, and I was actually shocked by that. I didn't expect him to do that, but what I was trying to tell him is that, hey, does this mean you're going to censor stuff like Bangalore because it's like, you know, leaks about her having like an heirloom about a tonfa, and you know, and I saw people, somebody actually tweeted this, that somebody told one of the, I forgot, it was Drew, I think it was Drew, that hey, please don't give Bangalore tonfa, please don't give Bangalore tonfa 4 times. And I think Drew said that, oh, not considering old leaks, why would you say that? And you know, people said like, oh, it's just one of those people said like, oh, it'll be tone deaf for what's going on right now. And then somebody said that something I agree with it, and somebody said like, hey, this is just a martial arts weapon. Like, come on, it's associated with martial arts. And I know, like, you know, in the movies and stuff, it's associated with police, but police don't even use tonfas in it. They use batons.
Police use tonfas in the United States in the 20s, man. Like, they'd be walking down the street with their tonfa, like with their, they call them nightsticks here, like, you know, with their tonfa, just like spinning it on a damn string. Like, but we're not in the 20s anymore. You know, I know that some Asian police forces still use it as, but it's because it's a martial, like you said, it's a martial weapon. It's not a, it's.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's a delicate situation that we're talking about, and you know, I try to skate on these types of topics a little bit.
I mean, I understand.
I mean, I'm a straight white male. Who am I to talk about anything that, you know, affects you know, like Black Lives Matter movement, like any of that? I agree that there needs to be police reform, and the use of force that the police use in the United States is outrageous. Like, you know, but at the same time, like, you play a video game to get away from real life, right? Real life can suck, and it's your escape from that. So why do we have to inject all this crap about real life standards into a video game? And if we do start doing that, like you've said a couple times already, is like, when do we stop? You know, are we going to completely remove Lova because some people find her insensitive to Brazilian Portuguese culture? You know? Yeah,
and I get where they're coming from.
Absolutely.
But I do this because I care, you know. I do this because I want this game to succeed. Yeah, and I know some other YouTubers that, unfortunately, they would never say something like this. They would never come out and tell Tom, hey, this is censorship, and because of this, this, and this.
It is censorship, though. It's 100% censorship. Like that. There's no other word for it. Like,
and that's why
I think this is Respawn teat, baby.
Yeah, and well, I'm not gonna call them out, but I get it. Like, you know, they had to like put food on their table, but to me, I feel like I had to be that one voice that, and that's really what my character in my YouTube represents. Like that one person that was saying like all this stuff about the syndicate, having stuff that nobody wanted to say, even though it was on people's mind. Right. And in an ironic way, that's what happened here in this situation, where I had to say, hey, let's take a look back at what you did, Tom, because I have a fear that this is going to affect the game in the future.
Well, and I can tell by talking to you, Kev, that like you care enough that you've paid enough attention to the lore, and you've lived it enough that like you care enough about it to memorize like everything that happened, you know, from beginning to end, that you're passionate about it, man. There's nothing wrong with that. Kev, I don't want to cut this short, dude, but like my kid and wife are going to be home in like 10 minutes, so I would like to get off here and do a little bit of cleaning. If you had anything you wanted to ask me before we wrapped up, it's been a fun talk, though. We could definitely do this again sometime if you'd like to.
Are you coming back to YouTube, or you want to plug something in?
I mean, yeah. I've been so I've had this week off work, vacation-wise, and I've been kind of like blueprinting what I want to do, and kind of going over it in my head. I don't want to take on too much too fast, because I don't want to burn myself out real quick. I'm under contract with a multi-content network until October 20th, but I've already wrote their legal team, and I will be out from underneath that contract on October 20th. So at that point, I will be free to post as That1miningGuy again on YouTube, and that's the only thing that's kind of held me back from like re-uploading anything, or you know, likely going to be rebooting a lot of the series is what I'm going to do, because I don't have backups of data or backups of the videos anymore. I deleted all that crap. You know, but yeah, so really right now the only place I'm really posting is I'm back on Twitter, I've been pretty active the last week and a half or so. I've had a lot of really good conversations there with people, and it's been real great getting the outpouring from the community of support. And people seem really happy that I'm looking at coming back into the Apex community. So if you did used to follow me and you don't follow me anymore, it's That1miningGuy on Twitter. You can go check me out there, and I'll definitely be posting, like, as I start posting YouTube again and stuff like that. That'll probably be the best place to find updates on where the content's going to be.
Well, in that case, That1miningGuy Dave, welcome back, and I'll see you.
Kev.
Yeah, so thanks.
I'll keep on repenting for that night so long ago. Though your hands disappear, I'll still find the place where you are here. So go without saying a goodbye.